Hi, I'm Jen. We're going to read Marvin redpost, a magic crystal. Chapter 7, A Conversation. Casey could talk. Marvin was sure of it. If she couldn't talk, one of her parents would have called and asked what happened. He knew she had to say something in school. It would be impossible for her to go through the whole way in school without saying one word. "Good morning, Casey," he said as he sat down next to her. She smiled at him but said nothing. He watched her during the Pledge of Allegiance. Her mouth formed the word, but she didn't speak. Finally, during math, Mrs. North asked her a question. Casey pointed to her mouth, then she held her hands out as if to say she was helpless. "She can't talk," said Judy Jasper. "Do you have any laryngitis?" asked Mrs. North. Casey shrugged. Marvin knew Casey didn't have laryngitis. When you have laryngitis, you can still speak in a sort of raspy whisper. Casey had faked her itis. Mrs. North had Casey come to the front of the room and write the problem and answer on the board. "Very good, Casey," Mrs. North said when Casey finished. "I hope you feel better soon. Although I must say I had been wondering why it was so nice and quiet in here this morning." Several kids laughed. Casey smiled at Mrs. North. Then she turned and stared angrily at Marvin. Marvin stared right back at her. He knew she would have talked sooner or later. He thought she could make it to recess. Casey made it to recess. Marvin stared at her from the warble line. She was standing on the blacktop with Judy and Melanie. Suddenly, Judy and Melanie laughed. Marvin grabbed Stuart's arm. "She said something," he announced. "Who?" asked Stuart. "Why else would they laugh?" asked Marvin. "If she didn't say anything." "Who?" asked Nick. "She probably said something about me," Marvin thought. "Judy and Melanie are laughing at me." He felt his ears got hot. A ball hit Marvin's shoulders. He quickly spun around. "You're up, Marvin," said Travis. He's been waiting all recess for his turn, but now he just walked away and said, "I have to talk to Casey." "But she can't talk," Stuart called after him. Casey had her back to Marvin, but turned around as he approached. She stared at him, hand on hip. Melanie and Judy backed off. Marvin marched right up to her. "What did you say about me?" he demanded. Casey eyes winded. Marvin could tell what she was thinking. He could read her face. Her face said, "How can I say something about you? I can't talk, remember?" "Don't give me that," said Marvin. "I saw Judy and Melanie laugh." Casey's face said, "So they're allowed to laugh. It's a free country." "You're going to get into trouble when Mrs. North finds out you don't have laryngitis," said Marvin. Casey held out her hands. "It's not my fault I can't talk." "First of all," said Marvin, "I don't believe in your stupid magic crystal. It's not even a crystal, it's just a rock. How do you know it got struck by lightning? And besides, you're the one who has it. If it really is a magical, all you have to do is wish that you can talk again." Casey raised her eyebrows. Her eyebrows seemed to say, "How can I make a wish if I can't talk?" "Oh, yes," said Marvin. He had thought of that. "All right, give me the rock, and I wish that you can talk again." Casey looked at him. Marvin wasn't quite sure what her face said. It either said, "You just said you don't believe in the rock. It won't work if you don't believe," or it said, "No way, I can trust you, Marvin, not after your last wish." "Well then, give the rock to Judy and let her wish for you," said Marvin. Casey puffed out her cheeks with her tongue. It seemed to say, "Judy doesn't know about the magic crystal. She doesn't know That's why I can talk. And since I can't talk, I can tell her. Well, write it all down on the paper for her, said Marvin. Yeah, right, answered Casey's angry face. You know I hate to write. It's bad enough I have to write for school. If I try to write all that to Judy, it would take 10 sheets of paper, and I probably spend my hand. Now you're exaggerating, Marvin said. Are you insane? Asked Casey's scrunched up nose. You're being stubborn, Marvin replied. Casey's face turned red. I'm stubborn? You're the one who's stubborn. You stupid, thinky boo-boo head baboon. Fine, be that way, said Marvin. I don't care if you never talk again. He turned his back on her and angrily walked away. The bell rang before he made it to the verbal area. Now he was really mad. He wasted his entire recess, and it was all Casey's fault. He used to kind of like her, sort of, but not anymore. Not after she called him a stupid, stinky, boo-boo head baboon. Chapter 8. Last Chance. Casey did not say a word all day, at least not when Marvin was near. He didn't know if she said anything when he wasn't around, although he suspected that she did. After school, he walked with Nick and started to Nick's house. She's lying, Marvin repeated several times on the way there. How can she lie if she can't talk? Asked Stuart. That's how, said Marvin, because she can't talk. Why does she pretend he can't talk? Asked Nick. Why do you care? Asked Stuart. I don't care, Marvin insisted. He didn't tell them about the magic crystal. He had promised Casey to keep it secret. And even though she was pretending she couldn't talk, and even though she called him a stupid, stinky, boo-boo head baboon, he still kept his promise. You want to play basketball? Nick asked when they reached his house. I don't care, Marvin repeated, still thinking about Casey. Sure, said Stuart. Horse or knockout? I don't care, said Marvin. I just know she's faking. They decided to play horse because they need 2 basketballs to play knockout. Nick only had 1 basketball. Nick talked and played at the same time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Nick Truffles is not going to try a shot from behind the brown spot in the driveway. Can he do it? He's taking careful aim. Oh, the pressure. It would be amazing if he can make this shot. He shoots. The ball is up. It bounces off the rim and goes through the net. He did it. Nick Trafford made the shot. Marvin was the first to lose. He was too busy thinking about how much he didn't care about Casey. Why don't you go home and get your basketball? Stuart said. Then we can play knockout. Marvin liked knockout better than hers. It was faster and had a lot more action. He only lived around the block from Nick. He headed home. His basketball was kept in the garage, but the garage door was closed, so he had to go through the house. Jacob and Nate were eating popcorn in the kitchen. Jacob was Marvin's older brother. Nate was Jacob's best friend. They were in the middle school. They were 2 finished eaters. Sometimes all 4 fish were in the large popcorn bowl at the same time. Hey, Mar, said Jacob, you have a visitor. I do? Asked Marvin. Is she your girlfriend? Asked Nate. My girlfriend? Asked Marvin. She's cute, said Jacob. Who are you talking about? Asked Marvin. You mean there's more than one? Asked Nate. Nate and Jacob laughed. How many girlfriends do you have? Asked Jacob. They laughed some more. Marvin felt himself blush. I don't know who you're talking about, and she's not my girlfriend. She's upstairs playing with Lindsay, said Jacob. Marvin rushed up the stairs. He's sure in a hurry to see her, said Nate. Marvin stopped. The only reason he was hurrying was because Nick and Stuart was waiting for him. He probably shouldn't even go upstairs as well. He should just get his basketball and leave. But maybe he could catch Casey talking. Very quietly, he continued up the stairs, then down the hall to Lindsay's room. The door was open. She peeked inside. Casey and Lindsay were sitting on the floor playing Candyland. Casey was back to Marvin. Marvin put his finger to his lips so Lindsay wouldn't say anything. Hi, Marvin, Lindsay blurted. Do you like my new hairstyle? Lindsay had a ponytail sticking out the side of her head. Casey turned and stared at Marvin. I'm playing with Casey, Lindsay said. She can't talk and it's your fault. Marvin spoke to Lindsay, but he looked at Casey. How do you know she can't talk? He asked. Only she told you. Well, because she hadn't said anything, asked Lindsay. But how do you know it's my fault? Marvin asked, still staring at Casey. Everything is your fault, Marvin, said Casey's face. Well, you two have fun playing Candyland, said Marvin. I just came to get my basketball. Wait, don't go, said Lindsay. You can fix her so she can talk again. Oh, really? Said Marvin. How can I do that? All you have to do is say you're sorry for telling her to shut up, said Lindsay. Marvin thought it over. He did feel bad about telling Casey to shut up. Casey tapped Lindsay's shoulders. Oh, I forgot, said Lindsay. He giggled. You also have to say that you miss hearing her sweet voice. She giggled again. Marvin reddened. There was no way he could say that. Well, first of all, said Marvin, I know she's faking. Second of all, what makes you think I want her to talk again? I'm going to play basketball. Nick and Sir were waiting for me. Casey glared at him. Her face said, if you leave now, you'll be really sorry. He turned and went down the stairs. He got his basketball out of the garage and headed back to Nick's house. The whole way was there. Marvin thought about Casey. There was no way he would tell her he was willing to say he was sorry. If that wasn't good enough, well, too bad. What took you so long? Stuart asked when Marvin finally made it back to Nick's house. Come on, let's play knockout, said Nick. Marvin looked at his basketball. He suddenly realized something. How could Lindsay know he had to say he missed hearing her sweet voice unless Casey told her? Casey couldn't have written it for her because Lindsay couldn't read. That proved it. Casey must have talked. I have to go home, he said. But you just got here, said Stuart. I got stuff and I have to do, said Marvin said. What kind of stuff, said Nick. Just stuff, said Marvin. He couldn't tell them about Casey being at his house. They wouldn't understand. They might think he liked her. He turned and hurried home. He tapped the last part for the lock and went inside. Lindsay, Jacob, and Nate were playing cards on the floor of the family. That surprised Marvin almost as much as seeing Casey earlier. Jacob and Nate never played with Lindsay. Nate, do you have any sevens? Lindsay asked. Hey, Mar, said Jacob. Lindsay laughed as Nate angrily threw a card at her. Where's Casey? Marvin asked. Your girlfriend went home, said Nate. She's not my girlfriend, said Marvin. She's really mad at you, said Lindsay. Marvin shrugged. I don't care. She hates you, said Lindsay. So, said Marvin. He took his basketball through the laundry room and out to the garage. He tossed it into the box, and it bounced out and hit his bicycle, which crashed to the ground. Marvin grumbled, then picked up his bike. He looked around for the basketball. It had rolled around the bend. It got a broom off the wall, then laid down on the floor of the garage. Using the broomstick, he knocked the ball out from under the bed. I hate her too, he said. Chapter 9. Her sweet voice. Marvin tried to read this book 1,000 times, but he couldn't concentrate. He kept glancing at Casey. It was Friday, 2 days since she wished he would shut up. She still wasn't talking. He wondered how long she could go on pretending. Casey caught him looking at her. She glared back at him as if to say, "What are you looking at?" Marvin didn't look away. "You're going to have to talk sometime," he thought. "You can't keep this up forever." "That's what you think," replied Casey's face. "You'll get in trouble," thought Marvin. "Mrs. North will find out you don't have laryngitis." "I may never talk again," Casey shot back. "Good," thought Marvin. "I'm sick of hearing your ugly voice." "Well, I'm sick of your stupid, ugly face," Casey sadly replied. "Then I'm sick of your stupid, ugly ponytail," thought Marvin. Casey angrily turned away. Marvin looked down at his desk. Even though he was mad at Casey, he felt bad about what he had just said. He knew she was very proud of her ponytail. "You're all working so nice and quietly," said Mrs. North. She dropped 3 marbles into the marble jar, filling it to the top. "Let's go to Lake Park." Everybody cheered except Casey, who couldn't, and Marvin, who didn't feel very cheerful. Lake Park was 3 blocks from Marvin's school. Everyone had to walk with a body. Marvin's body was short. Nick and Warren walked right behind them. "Look, there's Casey," Marvin said. "Watch, I bet you'll see talk." Casey was buddy with Judy. "I don't care," said Stuart. "I don't care either," said Marvin. Mrs. North started out the front, but then he drifted back until she was walking right next to Judy and Casey. "Darn," said Marvin. "Now he won't say anything with Mrs. North right there." "I don't care," said Stuart. "Me neither," said Marvin. "I hope it's all right for you to be outside," she heard Mrs. North say. "I wouldn't want your throat to get worse." Casey shrugged. "The fresh air will be good for her," said Judy. Marvin turned to Stuart. "How does Judy know?" he said. He asked. "Is she a doctor?" "Who cares?" asked Stuart. "Not me," said Marvin. There was a big place cave at the lake park and a huge spider web made out of rope which had fun to climb. Mrs. North told the class to have fun. Marvin didn't feel like having fun. He watched Casey and Judy walk down the path to the lake. "Come on, Marvin," Stuart called as he ran to the spider web. Marvin stayed behind. He knew Casey and Judy was going off by themselves so they could talk. This was his chance to catch her. He waited for them to get a head start, then followed them. There was a lot of trees on either side of the path. Marvin climbed quietly from tree to tree. The 2 girls stopped near the edge of the lake. Marvin remained behind the tree. It looked like as if they were talking, but Casey had her back to him. He was still too far away to hear. He moved closer. He heard a laugh. He didn't know if it came to Judy or Casey, but either way, it proved Casey could talk. If Judy was the one who laughed, it meant that Casey must have said something funny. He carefully moved to a closer tree, then quickly darted to the bush less than 10 feet away from the girls. He tried not to breathe. "Shh," said Judy. "I think I hear someone." Marvin remained very still. "We know you're there, Marvin," said Judy. For a moment, Marvin didn't say anything. Then he stared out from behind the bush. I heard you, he declared. Casey talked. No, she didn't, Judy insisted. Casey pointed to her mouth, which was jammed shut. What did she say? Demanded Judy. Marvin bit his lip. She wished he had heard just a bit more. I heard someone laugh, he said. That was me, said Judy. Well, she must have said something funny to make you laugh. Then Marvin, she made a funny face, said Judy. Casey demonstrated. She pulled her ears, raised her eyebrow, and stuck her tongue out on the side of her mouth. Marvin suddenly realized something. You said to her. Huh? asked Judy. When you heard me behind the bush, you said I hear. I think I hear someone. You wouldn't have said unless Casey could talk. He smiled triumphantly at Casey. I was talking about shoes, Judy explained. I was just about to say shoes are nice when I heard you sneaking around like a skunk. Casey smiled triumphantly at Marvin. Marvin shouted Mrs. North from the top terrace. Judy, Casey, come back to the place cab. You're not allowed near the water. Judy hurried away before Marvin could ask her why she was talking about shoes. Casey looked at Marvin. Her face wasn't angry. He wasn't sure what her face was saying. Marvin said, Okay, I'm sorry that I told you shut up. Casey waited for more. Marvin shook his head. Okay, he said. He looked around to make sure nobody could hear him. He stared down at the fish and muttered, I miss hearing your sweet voice. He glanced up at her. He removed the magic crystal from her pocket and held it out to him. Marvin took it. He closed his eyes and said, I wish you can talk again. He opened his eyes. Casey spoke. She said, You're weird, Marvin. Then she ran up the path, screaming at her top of the lungs. Hey, Mrs. Norris, I got my voice back. It's a miracle. Marvin stayed behind, still holding the magic crystal. He closed his eyes. He squeezed it so hard it hurt his hand. Then he whispered, I wish someday Casey and I will get married. He threw the rock as far as he could out over the lake. The end. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.